So we have number 1 UConn. They're up 90-48 on Villanova with 37 seconds in the fourth quarter in the Big East Finals. So they're going to win the Big East Final. Navy is up 74-63 with 2:30 in the fourth. Chicago State, they're up 96-75 on Chicago State. There's 1:30 to go in the fourth quarter. And then we have 1:30 to go in there. And then we have 16 seconds to go in the fourth quarter. Limon up 52-46 in Wagner. And then halftime, Boise State leads 31-29 Air Force at halftime in the Mountain West semifinal. And at 10:30 in the second Mountain West semifinal, we have Cross State at UNLV. It's in Las Vegas at Thomas Vet Center. And then we have in the SWAC first turn round, we had a SWAC first turn game. Bethune-Cookman 2 first turn SWAC games. There's 12 teams in SWAC. The top 6 automatically qualify for the semis, and then 7 and 8 make it to the second round. They got by the second round. 9 through 12 with the ballot in the first round. And what they do is 3 through 6 get buys to Thursday. The top 2 seeds get buys on Wednesday. But then they get a day off on Friday till Friday. So we have, and then Bethune-Cookman wins over Texas 66-62. The Southland first round. Top 8 teams in Southland make it. 5 through 8 play day 1. 8 plays 5, 6 plays 7. And then the 5-8 winner plays the 4 seed. The 6-7 winner plays the 3 seed. And then the 2 and 1 seeds get by till Wednesday for the semis. So we had Northwest State beat East Texas 68-56. Green Bay in the semifinal of the Barbasol Rising Championship. Barbasol Monsters Rising Championship. They beat Purdue 73-48. James Madison defeats Troy 69-52 in the Sunbelt final, the Sunbelt Championship final. So James Madison is going to the NCAA tournament after beating Georgia Southern and beating Troy, being the top 2 seeds. Getting by the quarter to beating South Alabama in the quarter, and then being the top 2 seeds, Georgia Southern and Troy. In Sacramento State in the Big Sky Championship third round, they beat in the quarterfinals because the top 2 seeds actually play in the second round, because then they get a day off. So it's still playing like 3-3 in 3 games, but you're playing 3-4 instead of 3-3, you know. So you do that. So you play the bottom 2 seeds. Because you're not playing like a tougher opponent your first game, you know, like a quarterfinal opponent, like a 3 through a 6 seed, you know. You're playing like a 7 through 10 seed. So it gives you more an advantage. And then the Big Sky, and this was the third one, which is the quarterfinal. And San Jose State defeats San Jose State 62-53. Even Nichols were recovered 81-55, 60-55. Youngstown State or Cleveland State. So it's going to be Green Bay and Youngstown State in the Horizon League Championship final at noon Eastern on ESPN2 on Tuesday the 10th, tomorrow the 10th. And then the Oregon State defeats Marymount 73-67. East Washington defeats Northern Colorado 55-53, so that's an upset for East Washington. And then Jacksonville defeats Austin Peay in overtime. Austin Peay almost has A10 conference record, regular season conference record. They almost upset the number 1 seed. They almost upset their top seed in Jacksonville in the ASUN 66-63. Jacksonville is actually number 2 in the ASUN. And then Eastern Kentucky is number 1 in the ASUN, but they got stunned earlier in the tournament. And then we had Gonzaga defeat Santa Clara 88-60. So Oregon State will play Santa Gonzaga at 4 Eastern, 1 Pacific on ESPN2, the West Coast Conference Tournament final. Mississippi State beats winless in the SWAC Pavilion. They were 0-18 SWAC play. and they actually were actually tied. Were actually had a 3-point. They were down only 3 at halftime. They were down only 5 at the start of the fourth, so it's not bad, you thought. But no, Mississippi State went doubled up per game, 18-9, and they won 62-49. Holy Cross defeats Colgate 72-36 in the Patriot Championship quarterfinal. At campus sites, Army 65-57 over Lafayette. Lehigh 68-54 Loyola Maryland in the Patriot quarterfinal. Mercier 70-64 Stonehill in the Northeast Conference quarterfinal. Fairfield defeats Quinnipiac 51-44. So Fairfield moves on the NCAA tournament. Quinnipiac will either go to WBIT or WNIT. Quinnipiac will probably go to WBIT, if I had to guess. Maine defeats Binghamton 60-56. And Vermont in double overtime defeats UMBC 68-65. So Vermont and Maine are going to about 5 Eastern for the right to and it's at Vermont, the number 1 seed, because they play at campus sites. You're reseeding every round on the new campus sites. So America East is going to be 5 Eastern, ESPNU. Maine at Vermont for the right to go to the NCAA tournament, NCAA tournament, men's basketball tournament. And Fairleigh Dickinson beats St. Francis PA's last ever NCAA Division I basketball game. They're moving down to Division III for the President's Conference because they said it might be athletics. They can't compete in this new NIL era of Division I, but also they want to spend more time in their classroom. That's student athletes be able to spend more time in the classroom. You don't have so much travel from when to Chicago for games, So they don't want to do that. So. And then Navy ends up defeating Boston University 76-66. Long Island officially defeats Chicago State 99-77. And they won't officially defeat Wagner 54-47. And then, so we only have 2 games, and like I said, Boise State leads Air Force at the half 31-29. And Carlos State defeats UNOV at 10:30 Eastern. And then tomorrow on the 10th, like I said, Bethune-Cookman, since they won, they're taking on Florida A&M in the SWAC. Second round, 11 a.m. Eastern on ESPN Plus. At noon Eastern, ESPN Plus. That's 11 a.m. local time. This game is. And noon Eastern, 11 a.m. local time in the Southland. Southland tournament. The women play first. The Southland. 2 games in the men. In the SWAC second round, the women they do the women, then the men fall in each session. Like the men, women's the headers. The women play first, and the men play. That's what they're doing in the SWAC. Then we had Youngstown State Green Bay at Eastern. This is always a Kids Day game. The Barbarossa Harriers Championship Final. It's always a Kids Day game because it's an odd time for ESPN too, because for a TV audience, because they want to get the game televised. And it's kind of the dilemma with mid-majors. It's I want these conference tournaments televised, but the attendance, it's kind of made for TV. These definitely conference tournaments or for TV purposes, you're going to get a lot more TV viewership than you are in person. But the conferences will take it, though. It all adds up the same for them. And Kansas State, Delaware at 12:30 Eastern on ESPN Plus in the first Conference USA Championship first round. In the American Athletic Conference Championship first round. Philadelphia and Charlotte at 1 Eastern ESPN Plus. At 2 Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific. Sacramento State takes on Idaho. Boise, Idaho at the Idaho Central Arena. The Big Sky Championship semifinal. 2:30 Eastern, 1:30 p.m. local time. Nichols takes on Stephen Foster in the Southland Tournament quarterfinal. And then UTEP at 3 Eastern. They'll take on Jacksonville State in the Conference USA first round. On ESPN Plus. At 3:30 Eastern, ESPN Plus. Tulane takes on Temple, the American Conference Championship. At 1 Pacific, 4 Eastern. At Oregon State takes on Gonzaga in the West Coast Conference Tournament. Winner goes to the NCAA tournament in this one. And then Eastern Washington takes on Montana State in the Big Sky Championship semifinal. 4:30 Eastern. 1:30 Pacific on ESPN Plus. And 5:30 Eastern on ESPN Plus. It's Mississippi Valley State and Arkansas Pine Bluff in the tournament second round game. And then the Mountain West Championship final is on CBS Sports Network at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time, 6:30 p.m. Pacific on CBS Sports Network. Most of the Mountain West Men's Championship, the quarterfinals, semifinals, and quarterfinals and semifinals are in CBS Sports Network. championship is on CBS, and then the women's championship. The men's first round is earlier in the day, and then it starts with the women's championship. Or actually, the men's starts on the 11th. Actually, the men's first round starts on the 11th, but they don't air the men's first round games. They just air the quarterfinals, semifinals, and final. And I will do some whip around. I will be able to do some whip around tomorrow, starting at 5:30 Eastern, with the rest of Oregon State Gonzaga. If there's any of Tulane Temple left, I can do a little bit of that. Show you moved on the second round. And East Rush and Montana State, the third quarter of that game, and maybe some of the fourth too. And then Mississippi State, Arkansas State, Pine Bluff. I'll be able to do the first quarter, maybe a little bit of the second quarter of this game as well.